Hello, Corky Alexander here. Um, I'm going to continue talking a little bit about music and serving the public in music activities, stuff like that. I'll make the connections to ministry in the church and so forth. Um, if you're not interested in these ideas, you can always just watch the guitar videos because I don't deal with too much philosophical stuff when I'm teaching the mechanics of guitar. Uh, but I wish you a very good morning and hope that things are going well with you. We kind of feel like YouTube, Zoom, and things like that are kind of saving us during the pandemic to be able to do things that we need to do or been wanting to do and staying at home. And I'm grateful for this opportunity. One person, a relative of mine, said that I'd been needing to do this for years. And so I thank him for that encouragement. Music is a huge part of our lives. Um, Married couples have their song. Um, Music uh, that's heard prompts emotions, and some people even believe that it will promote smell and other uh, dynamics when you hear a certain song on the radio. For those of us who were alive during the 60s and 70s, 80s, we listened to the radio, and of course a song can come on the radio and take you back, transport you back to another time and place. And we all know that feeling. In the church and in the religious world, music tends to focus upon either a performance type, special songs, or serves in a leadership role in leading worship. So that tends to be the limitation of it. It either is something for the worshiper to hear and listen to and be inspired by someone singing, playing an instrument, or else it becomes, praise band, music leadership, singing hymns, gospel songs, and now choruses, songs in church as they worship God. Music, however, is not limited to these aspects such as performance and participation in worship, but also music serves in a lot of other ways. Music can move you, can prompt you to dance, and it can be a vehicle or a procedure for people with physical issues to cause them to have progress in their health. Music can be educational. In the old gospel hymns, they were theological. In my songs that I did, my songs which are Christian songs, I followed Michael Card's guidance, and I tended to take a sermon. The title of the sermon would be the chorus of a song, and then each individual verse would have been a point of the sermon. And that's what I did in Coals of Fire. That's what I did in Walking and Leaping and so forth. And I thought that was a good thing that Michael Card, he's the writer of El Shaddai, popularized by Amy Grant. And so music has the ability to teach. and instruct. So what I'm calling for the case for music services is that people who can play instruments and can vocalize should be availing themselves of the opportunity to serve the community, either in a nursing home setting. One time in South Dakota, I was actually hired to play instrumental guitar in a dialysis clinic where people have to sit for a long time. And I just sat in the corner and played songs that they requested or whatever on instrumental guitar. That was a very powerful experience. And you can do that if you can get that worked out. One experience that I had in the nursing home, which was very valuable to me, was there was a man in a wheelchair that was brought into all of my programs in the gathering room. And he was paralyzed from the neck down and was kind of leaned back in his wheelchair. And when I would put on my guitar and play and sing, he would watch my hands. There would be about 50 people in the room, maybe. And he was right up front, and he wanted to see my hands, that I was forming my chords. And I noticed this, and when I would try to do something clever on the guitar, why, he would smile, or he would acknowledge with his facial expressions what I was doing. So one day I came in, and they wheeled him in, and his wife was with him, and she had a cassette recorder in her lap. And I walked up to him and I said, "Go ahead, tell me." He was a guitar player when he was able to be active. She said he absolutely was. He was a great guitar player. And I said, "Well, he watches my hands, and I think what's happening there is, in some ways, I may be, you know, taking his place as a guitar player, and he's living out his guitar life again." And there's a word for this, and I can't think of the technical word right now. But anyway, we're connecting with that, and he's reliving his guitar life through watching my hands. And so she said, "You want to hear him?" And she played the tape, cassette tape, and it was him in the days when he was not paralyzed. So this is a function of music in a medical setting, therapeutic setting, that you wouldn't normally think about. Another story is a woman that I served at Life Bridges in Cleveland, Tennessee, who was also in a wheelchair. And I had, in the room where I did music services, I had a piano. Sometimes there'd be a set of drums. Sometimes there would be hand drums, which I used in the Health Rhythms program, which I did for many years, still do. Therapeutic drumming. And then I would have guitars there and so forth. But anyway, so I wheeled this woman over to the piano to just let her do what she would do with the piano. And I noticed right away that she scooted up to the piano in a wheelchair, and that she took a hymnal and opened it up, and she propped the hymnal open with two other hymn books. Now, anytime I would see that, that's someone who has played piano. And then she looked down. The next thing you do after you scoot up, then you get your hymnal lined on the piano, and she looked down at her feet, because she's going to try to put her feet on the pedals, the whole pedal and the damping pedal, and whichever. And she did that. Then she proceeded to put her fingers on the keys and played something that was unintelligible. But she had a very good experience with that, made her very happy. And I reflected on that later and thought, you know, the different things that happen when we experience music. First of all, there's an emotional thing that we have with music when we hear it. It moves us. Then there is the sensory aspect when we play music of touching the instrument. Now, and you know that in guitar or piano, the vibrations of the sound not only come to the ears, but it also comes through the hands into the arms and everything. And one saxophone player that I talked to one time said, your guitar experience isn't even as profound as mine. He said, I actually breathe in the notes down in my lungs. And so these are real experiences we have sensory with an instrument. Then thirdly, there is uh, the cognitive aspect of thinking about the song, thinking about the chords and how they're formed when we play, uh, things like that. Um, then there's another aspect, which is the relationship with the instrument. And that protocol I described about the woman sitting at the piano to play gospel songs, very real for piano. Guitarists have their own protocol too. And then the relationship with the instrument, respect for the instrument, um, the way to approach it. You know, people that are serious musicians don't like to see anyone rush up and just grab a hold of your instrument and start dealing with it physically, because to us it's a precious thing and it's something that has got to be handled carefully. Uh, and so these are different ways in which we interact with music. On beyond that, music forms a procedure for people with repetitive um, uh, behaviors often find drumming to be very therapeutic because it gives them a procedure for their repetitiveness. Um, an autistic man that I served, more than one actually, of the people with autism that I served over the years, a lot of them do a rocking behavior. And I incorporated that into my program of dance to where everybody had to rock. And it was really something to see an autistic man look around and see everybody else doing what he's doing. And it gave him a sense of purpose, a sense of this is right, a rightness, a sense of support as he was rocking to the music. And a lot of times it would develop like a mosh pit right up to my microphone, where I would have a group of autistic males who all had like repetitive behaviors and all like that. So there's a lot of therapeutic things that can happen with music in that regard. So all this can be done and acknowledged and developed, even though you may not be a formally trained music therapist. I was a member of the American Association of Music Therapy, even though I was not a licensed music therapist. And so I learned a lot of activities like this to incorporate into my programs that I would do in the locations where I would go. So there's a whole world out there uh, vocationally of music, other than him singing and preaching or whatever. There's a world out there, and I invite you to become part of that world. Please subscribe to and like these videos if they help you, and then comment. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, okay? Have a great day. Corky Alexander, over and out.